Mom forces son into her high heels. My name is Alex, and for as long as I can remember, I've lived two lives. By day, I'm the quiet, responsible college student who keeps to himself, buried in textbooks and assignments. By night, I escape into something completely different. A world of silk, lace, and high heels, where every step feels electric and freeing. Dressing up isn't just a hobby. It's a part of me I hide from everyone, locked behind the walls of my room. The apartment was quiet that Thursday afternoon, sunlight spilling across the living room floor. I had carefully laid out my favorite pieces: a soft cream blouse, a sleek black skirt, and my lacy black heels, the ones that made my heart race every time I wore them. The mirrors along my wall reflected the faint anticipation buzzing in my chest. Nothing could interrupt this moment. Nothing, until she walked in. Her presence filled the room immediately. She didn't knock again, didn't wait for permission. Her eyes swept across the neatly folded clothes, landing on the heels. The familiar authority in her voice sent a jolt of tension through me. "I found these in the closet," she said, holding up one of her own high heels. My stomach twisted at the sight. Those were hers, and now they were a challenge. "Mom, those are yours," I started, but she cut me off. "I know what you've been doing, Alex." Every nerve in my body tensed. He saw me, my secret world, my private obsession. And now she was forcing me to confront it. "I want you to try them," she said, placing the heels on the floor. "Walk in them. Feel what it's like to live in someone else's shoes." The words hit me like a shock. My mind screamed for refusal, but a strange curiosity stirred inside me. My hands trembled as I knelt to slip my feet into the glossy black stilettos. The straps pressed against my ankles higher than any heels I had dared wear. Every step made me wobble, but also made my heart pound with a thrilling mix of fear and excitement. Mom's hand rested lightly on my back, steadying me. "Take your time," she said. "Learn it. Understand it." The sound of my heels clicking against the hardwood echoed through the room. The mirror caught my reflection, and it wasn't just Alex staring back. It was someone else. Someone I had longed to become but never dared to show. Vulnerable yet daring. Shy yet electric. "This isn't just about shoes," Mom said, her voice calm but unwavering. "It's about stepping into who you truly are, even if it scares you." My heart raced. Every secret, every stolen moment in front of the mirror led to this. Standing there in her heels with her eyes watching, I realized the boundary between fear and desire, shame and exhilaration had vanished. Every step I took forward felt like stepping into a new reality, one that could change everything. The first few steps in Mom's heels were a precarious balance between humiliation and thrill. My toes ached slightly as the narrow straps dug into my skin, but the sound of the heels clicking against the floor sent an unexpected surge of excitement through me. Mom didn't rush me. She watched silently, a mix of sternness and fascination in her gaze, as if she were both teacher and spectator. "Straighten your posture," she instructed. Her voice was calm, almost clinical. "Your shoulders. Chin up. Confidence comes from how you carry yourself, not just the shoes." I swallowed hard, adjusting my stance. Every movement felt amplified. My heartbeat, my shaky breaths, the tight grip of the heels against my feet. Walking across the room, I realized I had never been so acutely aware of my body. Every curve, every line of muscle and skin felt under a microscope. The reflection in the hallway mirror caught me again, and I froze mid-step. It wasn't just the heels. It was the transformation, the subtle shift in my entire presence. The skirt clung differently than I expected, the blouse soft and flowing but emphasizing a silhouette I wasn't used to. Even my hands felt foreign as I adjusted the straps. Vulnerability mixed with a rush of forbidden excitement, making it impossible to tell whether I should run or stay. Mom stepped closer, guiding my movements. "Look at yourself," she said, her hand resting lightly on my back. "See what you can become." I hesitated, and when I finally turned to face the mirror fully, my reflection was shocking. My short hair framed my face differently, the soft blush Mom had insisted I apply highlighting my cheekbones. The lipstick glided smoothly across my lips, glossy and strange but somehow right. My eyes widened, caught between disbelief and awe. "You look different," I whispered. My voice sounded small, fragile, but there was a strange pride hidden beneath the tremor. "Different isn't bad," Mom replied softly. "Different is discovering what you've been hiding from yourself." Her words struck deep, yet panic laced through me. The thrill was intoxicating, yes, but the stakes felt terrifyingly high. I was under her gaze, my secret life exposed, forced into a role I had only dreamed of in private. Every click of the heels against the floor was a countdown to a potential disaster. What if she laughed? What if she told someone? What if this changed everything? I took a step back, wobbling slightly. Mom's hand steadied me instantly. "Balance comes with practice," she said, almost teasing now. "You have to learn to trust the shoes, and yourself." Hours passed, or maybe minutes, time blurred. I practiced walking, turning, even sitting and standing, each motion exposing a new vulnerability. The mirrors multiplied my reflection, making it impossible to ignore how drastically I had transformed. My hands smoothed over the skirt instinctively. My feet hurt from the heels, but that ache was intertwined with an electric thrill I had never experienced so intensely before. Mom watched patiently, occasionally correcting a posture or suggesting a subtle tilt of my hips. "Embrace it," she instructed. "Feel every movement. Let the clothes, the shoes, the makeup, let them guide you, not restrict you." The emotional tension was almost unbearable. Shame, excitement, fear, and curiosity warred inside me, each emotion stabbing sharply, refusing to blend. I hated feeling watched, yet the gaze of my mother sparked a dangerous allure I couldn't resist. The line between punishment and indulgence blurred. Then came the test. Mom handed me a pair of slightly higher heels than before, a daring stiletto that demanded careful balance. "You'll need to wear these around the house. Every step counts. No mistakes." My stomach twisted. Higher heels meant more risk, more exposure. And yet, the challenge was irresistible. I slipped into them, my legs trembling with the effort. Each careful step across the living room echoed, amplified by the tension of potential discovery. My reflection was a stranger. Alex, transformed, delicate, graceful, and terrifyingly beautiful. Hours melted into moments of self-discovery. I experimented with poses, with expressions, with the subtle art of standing tall while feeling entirely out of control. Every glance in the mirror was a mixture of shock, pride, and fear. Mom didn't interfere unless necessary, but her presence was constant, a silent observer amplifying every emotion. The suspense escalated further when she suddenly announced, "Someone might stop by later." My heart skipped a beat. My mind spun with possibilities. Neighbors, friends, maybe even Isabella. The thrill of secrecy intensified, mixed with a creeping dread. Each step, each movement became a careful negotiation between exhilaration and terror. As the evening approached, I realized something unsettling. The thrill of this transformation was addictive. The fear, the tension, the embarrassment. It was intoxicating. My heartbeat echoed in my ears, matching the rhythm of my high heels against the floor. I was caught in a paradox. I wanted to stop, to retreat into the safety of my old self, yet part of me craved every second of exposure, every glance in the mirror that reminded me of how far I had come. Mom's voice broke through my thoughts, calm but commanding. "You're doing well. But the real test comes when you face the outside world, even if it's just for a few minutes." My breath hitched. Facing the world in this way, Mom's heels, her guidance, her knowledge of my secret, was unthinkable. And yet the idea of retreating felt impossible too. The tension coiled tighter, each click of the heels a heartbeat echoing the suspense. By the end of the evening I was exhausted, trembling, and exhilarated all at once. I had walked, posed, even practiced subtle gestures in the mirror, each step reinforcing the duality of who I was. Alex, the ordinary student, and Alex, the transformed version of myself, alive in ways I had never allowed before. Mom finally guided me to the couch, her hand brushing briefly over my shoulder. "Tomorrow," she said, "you'll learn what it means to truly embrace both sides of yourself." Tonight was just the beginning. The weight of her words settled over me like a shadow. The thrill, the shame, the fear, they were no longer just private. They were a challenge, a test, a transformation that could change everything about my life. And deep down, beneath the panic and trembling, I knew I wasn't ready to resist. The day began with tension thick in the air. I had spent hours practicing in Mom's heels, walking, posing, adjusting my skirt and blouse, and now every step I took carried weight. The memory of yesterday's lessons pressed into my mind. Posture, balance, confidence. But today was different. Mom had warned me about a visitor. An unexpected challenge that made my heart pound harder than any stiletto ever could. The doorbell rang unexpectedly, echoing like a gunshot through the quiet house. My knees buckled slightly, my body freezing in panic. Mom's eyes were calm, almost unreadable, but I could feel her measuring my reaction. "Answer it," she said softly. I hesitated, the heels pinching my feet. Each step toward the door felt like walking a tightrope. The hallway mirror reflected my transformed self. Skirt clinging perfectly, blouse flowing, lipstick bright, heels clicking in a rhythm that seemed louder than life. The person staring back was no longer just Alex. I was Alex, the secret version of me, vulnerable yet daring. I opened the door to see a neighbor, Mrs. Callahan, the older woman from down the hall. Her smile was warm, but I felt exposed instantly. The heels shifted beneath me and I nearly stumbled. I caught myself just in time, forcing a polite smile. "Hello, Alex," she said. "I wanted to return the book your mom lent me. Thought I'd drop it off in person." Mom stood slightly behind me, her expression unreadable. My stomach twisted, the heat rising in my cheeks. I had never felt so fragile, so exposed, so conscious of every inch of my body. The neighbor's eyes drifted downward and I panicked, thinking she might notice the heels, the skirt, the subtle curve of my figure enhanced by the outfit. Mom's voice broke through my panic. "Alex, show her your manners. Walk her to the living room." Every step echoed in my ears, heels clicking loudly against the floorboards. I led Mrs. Callahan to the couch, my posture rigid, hands trembling slightly. She chatted casually, unaware of the storm raging inside me. Each word she spoke felt like a spotlight on my secret, amplifying every nerve, every flutter of excitement and fear. I tried to keep my composure, but the heels betrayed me. One wobbled on the edge of the rug. My heart skipped. My stomach dropped. Mom's hand brushed my back, an almost imperceptible reassurance. I caught my balance, forcing a casual laugh. "Sit down, Alex," Mom instructed. "And be relaxed." The neighbor's presence, innocent as it seemed, made every sensation sharper. The pinch of the shoes, the softness of the blouse against my skin, the weight of the skirt around my thighs. I realized how completely transformed I had become, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Every move was calculated, yet instinctive, the thrill of danger coiling tighter with each passing second. Then the real challenge came. A knock at the back door. My heart stopped. Mom's eyes flicked toward me, a hint of warning there. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. I nodded, breath catching in my throat. Another visitor. Maybe a friend, maybe someone who shouldn't see me like this. Panic surged, my hands trembling visibly. I think someone else is here," I stammered. Mom's lips curved slightly. "Then it's time to see what you've learned. Can you handle it?" I swallowed, feeling the thrill and fear intertwined so tightly I could barely breathe. I glanced at the mirror as I moved, every inch of my reflection screaming vulnerability, beauty, and danger all at once. The stiletto heels pressed harder against my feet, the skirt felt tighter, the blouse softer than ever. I was hyper-aware of my transformed self. The delicate hands, the painted lips, the posture honed under Mom's watchful eye. The back door opened, revealing Isabella. My girlfriend. My pulse surged violently. She hadn't been expecting this, and I hadn't expected her. The sight of her froze me in place. My heels wobbled dangerously, threatening to betray me completely. "Alex," she said, her voice a mix of curiosity and confusion. Her eyes scanned me from head to toe. Time slowed. I could feel the blood rushing in my ears, the pinch of the shoes against my toes, the way the skirt hugged my thighs, the brush of the blouse across my arms. Every detail screamed exposure. Every nerve screamed fear. Mom's hand touched my shoulder lightly. "Remember your posture. Remember your steps. Confidence hides everything." I took a tentative step forward, heels clicking sharply. Isabella's eyes widened slightly, the expression on her face unreadable. She hesitated, then smiled faintly, a flicker of amusement or surprise in her gaze. My heart raced. This was the ultimate test. My secret exposed to the one person whose judgment I feared most. The thrill was unbearable, almost paralyzing. I adjusted my stance, trying to appear casual, confident, even though inside I was shaking like a leaf. Then the unexpected happened. A small misstep, one heel caught on the rug. I stumbled, arms flailing for balance. Mom's hand shot out, steadying me. Isabella gasped softly, and the moment hung in the air, taut with suspense. My face burned. My secret self, the transformed Alex, stood revealed in all its fragility and daring. For a heartbeat, silence ruled. Then Mom spoke calmly. "It's okay. You're doing beautifully. Embrace it." Her words anchored me. I straightened, corrected my posture, and forced a step forward. Isabella watched, curiosity and intrigue mingling in her expression. I realized then that the transformation wasn't just physical. The way I moved, the way I carried myself, it wasn't just Alex pretending. It was Alex discovering a side of himself that had been hidden for too long, yet had always existed. And as the afternoon wore on, the stakes continued to rise. Phone calls, knocks, and the looming threat of anyone discovering me intensified every sensation. Each moment was a test: balance, composure, secrecy, and the fragile thrill of being caught. The reflection in the mirror was a constant reminder. I was standing on the edge of two worlds, one foot in safety, the other in exposure and exhilaration. By evening, exhaustion mingled with adrenaline. Every step I took, every click of the heels, every glance at Isabella or Mom was a mix of triumph and terror. I had faced my fears, but the ultimate test, the emotional, terrifying, intoxicating proof of my transformation, was far from over. The house was quiet again. For a moment, it felt as if the world had paused, holding its breath for what might come next. I stood in the center of the living room, heels pinching, heart pounding, skirt swaying lightly, and lips glossy in the fading light. And Mom's voice cut through the tension one last time. "Tomorrow you'll take the next step. Tonight, remember this feeling. Fear, excitement, and discovery all wrapped into one." I closed my eyes for a brief second, letting the sensations wash over me. Vulnerable. Powerful. Exposed. Alive. The living room was quiet, but the air felt heavy, charged with every secret, every heartbeat, and every step I had taken in those heels. My legs ached, the stiletto's pinch still sharp against my toes, but I stood tall, swaying slightly as I tried to hold myself together. My reflection in the mirror seemed to stare back at me, almost daring me to break, to falter, to reveal the hidden Alex that had been locked away for so long. Mom sat on the couch behind me, calm, composed, yet somehow knowing exactly how close I was to losing control. "You've done well," she said softly, almost like a whisper meant only for me. "But now, the real test begins tomorrow." I swallowed hard, feeling a mix of relief and dread. Relief that I hadn't completely stumbled, that Isabella hadn't laughed or screamed, that my secret hadn't been exposed in full. Dread because the thrill and the terror was far from over. Then the sound came, the softest, faintest creak of the front door opening. My heart froze instantly. My mind raced. Was it Isabella again? Or someone else entirely? The house seemed to grow colder, the shadows longer, the heels on my feet suddenly heavier than ever. "Alex." Mom's voice carried a strange weight, calm but loaded with meaning. "Go see who it is." I took a step forward, every inch of me trembling. The heels clicked sharply against the floor, echoing through the empty house like a countdown. My reflection flickered in the mirror again, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't just Alex in a skirt and blouse anymore. I was someone new, someone fragile yet dangerous, someone exposed yet unstoppable. The hallway stretched out in front of me like a runway and a gauntlet all at once. My breath came shallow, my pulse hammering in my ears. Another creak, closer this time. Someone was there. Someone who could see. Someone who might unravel everything I had carefully hidden. I reached the door slowly, my hand shaking as it hovered over the knob. My mind raced. What if this visitor saw me like this? What if they laughed? What if they told someone? My toes ached in the heels, but the fear, the excitement, it made my entire body electric. The door swung open just a crack. A shadowed figure loomed in the doorway. I froze. The person stepped forward, and in the dim light I could barely make out a familiar face. And then Mom's voice whispered behind me, chillingly calm. "Whatever happens, remember, some secrets aren't ready to be revealed. But others can't stay hidden." The visitor stepped closer. The soft click of my heels echoed in the tense silence. The mirror reflected us all, me, Mom, and the unknown figure. Every step felt like a heartbeat, every breath drawn like a countdown. The visitor's lips parted slightly, a question or recognition hanging in the air. My own lips trembled. I was caught, half exposed, half hidden, and completely alive in the tension of the moment. And then, the screen would cut to black. No answers. No resolution. Only the sound of heels clicking, breath catching, and the weight of every secret teetering on the edge of exposure.